If you close your limited company with a bounce back loan or a CBILS and you do it wrong, you could end up personally liable. Some directors have even ended up in prison. Right now, there are thousands of UK directors in this exact situation. They took out a bounce back loan or a CBILS loan to survive lockdown, and now things have gone sideways. And you're wondering, what happens if I close a company with this loan? Listen, here's the scary part. If you make the wrong move, the insolvency service will come after you. And I've seen it. Directors disqualified for 15 years because they didn't get the right advice. In this video, I'm going to break it all down. What happens if you close your company with a bounce back loan or a CBILS, how to do it properly, and how to protect yourself. Watch this to the end because one wrong decision could cost you everything. In this video, I'm going to give you the straight answers. No fluff, no scaremongering. I'm Chris Worden from Director First, and this is what really happens when you close a company with a bounce back loan or a CBILS. So, if you're watching this, you probably know what a bounce back loan and a CBILS is, but just to make sure that we're all on the same page. Bounce back loans were government backed, up to 50 grand, 100% guaranteed by the government, no personal guarantees, cheap and easy money. Remember, you had to apply for 25% of the turnover in 2019. You could only project your turnover if you was incorporated after the 1st of Jan 2019. The CBILS, that's short for the Coronavirus Business Interruption Loan Scheme, they were larger loans up to 5 million. Now, depending on what level you got, right, there was a personal guarantee usually required on anything over 250,000. Okay, the issue, these were handed out like confetti during COVID, and now lenders are wanting their money back and the insolvency service are investigating. Now, the big question is, can I close my company with a bounce back loan or a CBILS? Well, the short answer is yes, you can close the company down, but there is a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. Now, bounce back loans and CBILS, let's be straight, the company debts. They sit with the company and not with you personally, unless you've done something wrong. If you liquidate properly, these debts get written off, unless, and here, in fact, you know what, we're going to come to that. Before you go thinking it's as simple as shutting the doors, there are things you absolutely need to know to protect yourself. One of the things I want to talk about is liquidation or strike off. Please don't get this wrong. Too many directors think they can just dissolve the company at company's house and walk away, and that is a big mistake. A strike off won't work if you owe a bounce back loan or a CBILS because the banks and other creditors, they'll object to your strike off. The strike off will get blocked and the company just stays open. Listen, the worst case scenario, right? If you try and dissolve the company knowing there's an unpaid bounce back loan and you don't follow the rules, you could be hit with director disqualification or worse, fraud accusations. Listen, the people who've gone to prison are the ones that have mainly struck the company off with a bounce back loan, okay? If anyone's telling you that that's the way forward, and you know what? Some of the banks are telling you to call this advice line, and this advice line are advising people to strike the company off. I can't get my head around that. I really can't. Listen, the proper way of getting rid of a bounce back loan or a CBILS is a liquidation, a voluntary liquidation ideally. It's formal, legal, and it draws a line under everything. The bounce back loan or the CBILS is included in the liquidation, and other unsecured debts, they're written off unless misconduct is found, okay? Now you're probably asking now, will I be personally liable for the bounce back loan or the CBILS? And listen, it depends, but generally no. If you use the loan for the business, if you didn't act recklessly or fraudulently, and you followed your duties as a director, but you could be liable if you spent the bounce back loan personally on house deposits, crypto, flash cars, if you overstated turnover to get more than you should have, if you sort of whipped the money in on a Monday and sent it to your personal account on a Tuesday, that's going to get you in hot water with a bounce back loan. CBILS loans, some of them have got personal guarantees, and it's normally for over 250,000. And if you liquidate and you've signed a personal guarantee on the CBILS, you could be chased personally for that part of the loan. The liquidator or insolvency practitioner, their job is to look at what you did with those loans. If you've got nothing to hide, you've got nothing to fear. But if you've got skeletons in the closet, now is the time to think about them and try and sort them out. Now, once you go into insolvency, into liquidation, the insolvency practitioner is going to dig into things. It's part of the job. They're going to review the bank statements. They're going to review how you spent your bounce back loan or your CBILS. They're going to look at management accounts if you've got them. And they're going to look at any transactions that look a bit dodgy. Now, there are some red flags for IPs. Big cash withdrawals, big transfers to accounts that aren't normally paid. Paying off loans to like friends and family, okay? Selling assets for cheap. Remember the example, you got a van worth 15 grand and you sell it to your mate Bob for 500 quid, okay? They're also going to be looking at overstating your turnover in the bounce back loan application. And if they find problems, right, they've got to report it to the insolvency service. Like anyone says the name friendly liquidator, you have my permission to uppercut them, okay? Liquidators are duty bound to represent creditors, okay? And you have better insolvency practitioners than others. You have some that give really good pre-appointment advice, and you've got others that are going to rip your eyeballs out and come back for the sockets. Now, if you've used the loans properly, and you liquidate through a voluntary liquidation and you cooperate with the insolvency practitioner, you'll usually walk away clean, okay? The company gets wound up, the debts, including the bounce back loan and the CBILS, are written off, and you're free to start again if you want. Yep, you can start up another company. There's going to be no personal credit impact as long as you didn't sign a PG. The company gets the black mark, not you personally, unless you're a sole trader, and then there's slightly different rules there. Now, I want to sort of dig into what happens if you don't follow the rules, because this is where things get messy. Possible outcomes are director disqualification. You could be banned for up to 15 years. Personal liability. You could be made personally liability for the debt. It happens all the time. Criminal charges. Listen, people have been done for fraud. Directors have gone to jail over bounce back loans and CBILS fraud. And there's a thing called a CIFAS marker. And these are fraud warnings that wreck your ability to get credit. So, listen, I'll throw some real cases at you. Director who overstates the turnover. They've overstated the turnover to get the bounce back loan, took the bounce back loan, nicked it all personally and disappeared abroad, okay? I've heard of people where directors have took all the money, they've spunked it gambling on luxury goods, Louis Vuitton bags. I've heard of directors buying boats, buying planes, putting extensions on their house. Now, if you've done any of that, right, please dig or don't ring me. I can't help you. The best advice for you is to pay the bloody thing back. And if you go into liquidation, expect a shower of shit about to hit you, okay? Now, there are ways that you can protect yourself and get the best outcome, okay? And this is where we help directors every day. Get your accounts in order before you go into liquidation. Like, know if you've got an overdrawn director's loan account, and if it is overdrawn, have a chat with the insolvency practitioner or me about what's going to happen post-liquidation. Remember, you want to get deals done up front in principle before you appoint the liquidator. Now, I think it's helpful if you've not got accounts, get some up-to-date management accounts. And when you're going into liquidation, be ready to explain what happened with the money and where it went. Really, you want to speak to somebody early. The sooner that you reach out to somebody like me, the more options that you've got. And what's really important is you've got to get everything out on the table. Don't think we won't find out, because we will. Insolvency practitioners are bloodhounds for problems. Okay, that is their job, is to find problems with directors. Okay, be honest and upfront. If you hide things, it's going to make it worse. And once you've gone into liquidation, cooperate with the liquidator. It really does, it works in your favour. So, closing a company with a bounce back loan or a CBILS, it's not the end of the world. Done right, it's the cleanest way to draw a line under the business and move forward. Done wrong, it can ruin you personally. So, key points. A voluntary liquidation is the right way, a strike-off is the wrong way. There's not going to be any personal problems unless there's misconduct. And always get advice before you jump in. My name's Chris Worden. I hope you found the video useful. If you like our content, like, subscribe, comment, and I'll respond personally. Thanks for your time. Chris Worden, Director First.